Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host and presenter, Advocate Tulo Hoyane. Good morning on this chilly winter morning. Winter is here with us. This is why you see me dressed up so heavily. Anyway, let me get into the business of the day. The business of the day is to look at what happened to the three police officers who were recently found in the Henops River near Centurion or in Centurion. The starting point here is all three of them were crime intelligence officers. Now, how does crime intelligence work? Crime intelligence is a very important component of the South African police services. They are important because these are the police who will investigate a crime and stop criminals dead in their tracks before a crime occurs. Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, the commissioner, the South African Police Services Commissioner in KZN, is well known for his crime intelligence techniques and the way the South African Police Services in KwaZulu-Natal have perfected their crime intelligence tactics so that they can arrest criminals before crimes occur. So back to the Bloemfontein Three. In the case of the Bloemfontein Three, the starting point is this. These people were crime intelligence officers. The two ladies and the gentleman were crime intelligence officers, and they were due for deployment or they were on their way to be deployed to the Limpopo province, where they were going to undertake some training. I don't know what the training entailed, but I suppose it is something to do with crime intelligence. Now, crime intelligence officers, like in all other police officers, can easily be targeted by criminals because, you see, they do not react when a crime has been reported at a police station. These are the people who are looking for red flags. They look for red flags and they nab crime before it occurs. Now, the one question that comes to mind is, who knew? That's the starting point. Who knew that these police officers were going to travel to Limpopo on that particular day? Who knew? Was it police management in Bloemfontein? Was it fellow police officers? And the answer is yes. Police management should have been aware that these people were due to leave on a certain date to start their deployment in Limpopo. And their work colleagues must also have been aware of this, that they were due to leave on a certain day for Limpopo. Moving on from there, their colleagues also knew that they would be traveling in a VW Polo, white in color. And they also, additional to that, knew that they would be leaving at such and such a time from Bloemfontein. And possibly also knew that they would be taking a certain route, the normal route that one would take from the Free State to Limpopo is via the N1. So that is the starting point of the investigation. Yes, we try and unravel this unfortunate incident that has left their loved ones devastated. So they left in that VW Polo for Limpopo, and when they reached Gauteng, it was in the evening. So they stopped at the Grasmere toll gate. That was the last place which they reached when their vehicle tracker and their cell phones were still on. Now, I talked to a forensics investigator yesterday who runs Tapadima Forensic Investigations, and you probably heard what he had to say. Now, the first thing that one can rule out is the possibility that that car ended up in the Henops River as a result of an accident. The reason why we can rule out an accident is, why was the vehicle tracker immobilized or switched off? And secondly, why were their cell phones also switched off? All three of them possibly had cell phones and they were all switched off. Now, that is another red flag. Whoever was behind the commission of this heinous act, and for all intents and purposes, it looks like a hijacking from the facts that one has gathered, must have disabled the tracker and must have switched off those cell phones to make sure that from the Grasmere toll gate, their movements are then untraceable. So that when he, proceeds with his crime from the Grasmere toll gate, that particular person cannot be tracked or his movements cannot be followed. So this is clearly a crime of hijacking, given the facts that we have. Now, police investigations seem to be taking rather too long in this instance, because you see, the families of the deceased police officers are looking for answers, and they're not going to get closure just because the bodies have been retrieved or found in the Henops River and the car in which they were traveling has also been located. Real closure will come when the families are fully aware of who is behind this crime and what was the motive for it. Now, crime intelligence officers, like all police officers, have got a lot of enemies in the criminal world. Another red flag would be, what sort of cases were these people investigating in the recent past? Because that will give us an indication of who possibly had a motive to kill them in the manner that they were killed. So we have to look into the cases that they were dealing with in the recent past, or those cases that they were dealing with at the time when they tragically lost their lives. It must be South African police services must look into the dockets that they were working on and try and find out whether those people that they were investigating as crime intelligence officers could possibly be behind this. Because there's the real possibility that the people that they were investigating or that they had investigated could have been behind this. So having said that, it would appear that there's a lot of criminality. It was not an accident. But you see, another strange development is that when this car was found, first of all, what was found were certain car parts separate from the main body of the car. So the possibility is that the criminals who threw those car parts and that car and the rest of the car into that river wanted to throw the police off the trail. In other words, make it look like, these people were hijacked and they were hijacked for that car, and, body parts were stripped from that car and the rest of the car was dumped in the river. When there could be perhaps a far more sinister motive or a far more serious motive behind this heinous crime. So these are some of the things that we should be looking into. The forensics investigator that I was talking about also told me something very interesting. That even after a cell phone has been switched off, his company has got the technology with which to track, incoming calls to that cell phone and to track by way of cell phone towers the movement of that cell phone, which is very interesting because ordinarily we expect that once a cell phone has been switched off, cell phone towers cannot pick it up. But he told me that that can be done and is available. Tapadima forensic investigations are available. This is a private investigations and forensics company that is available to assist. It has the expertise to undertake an investigation and bring the culprits to book. So I really hope that the South African police services can make use of Tapadima forensic investigations to try and get to the bottom of what happened. And I also look forward to a much more speedier, investigation so that families get closure. Because you see, the longer this thing takes, the more, the door is opened for all kinds of speculation. And the analysis that I've just provided you with here is not just wild speculation coming out of my head. I am in contact with a forensics investigator, who's throwing light on the possibilities of how this crime occurred. And like I said yesterday, I'll be making a follow-up to this, and I'll certainly be making many more follow-ups to this. But having said that, let me thank you for watching this video and for watching all the other previous videos that you have watched. Thank you for all the subscriptions that I'm also seeing. Please like and share these videos and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you very much.